What's good, YouTube man? Welcome back to the channel. I hope you are all having a very blessed day. I'm blessed you are here watching my video. It's that time of year, man. It is almost all-star weekend. The first half of the season is wrapping up, which only means one thing. It's time to give my 2024 through 2025 all-star teams. There are 13 people per roster, 5 starting, 7 on the bench. I will be naming 3 injury reserves just in case, in order. And then I will be naming the key names of people who did not make it this year. This is all my opinion. This is all unbiased, completely unbiased, based off stats, records, advanced stats, and yeah, let's just get straight into it. Let's start west. All right, our starter number 1, very obvious, is going to be Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. This doesn't really need much explaining. He's top 3, top 2 in MVP. It's what he's going to finish. He's averaging 30 points. Thunder are the number 1 seed. Hello, Kobe. You want to say hi? All right. You're going to be a creep? He interrupted me, but Shai, very obvious, easy pick, starting. Starter number 2, another obvious one, Nikola Jokic, probably the MVP, averaging a damn near 30-point triple-double, top 5 in assists as a center, leading the league in triple-doubles, all those things. Nikola Jokic, starting center, extremely obvious, really not hard at all. Next up, starting forward, probably it doesn't matter. He's one of the front court. I have Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis started off this season. He was looking like the MVP. He slowed down a little bit. Nonetheless, he's still playing absolutely amazing. He's playing better than LeBron, which isn't an accomplishment because he's 40, but it's still LeBron. Anthony Davis has been the Lakers' best player. He's top 3 in blocks. He's averaging about 25, 26 points per game, 13 to 12 rebounds. The Lakers are about the 5th through 7th seed. I don't know the exact seed they are, but still, Anthony Davis definitely deserves to be starting, so I have him here. Next up, in his sophomore season, I have the man, Victor Wembanyama, starting for the West. Averaging about 25 points per game, 12 rebounds, 4 blocks per game, leading the league in blocks easily. Nobody is even close to him. He's averaging about 1.5 more blocks per game than the next guy. He's averaging about 60 more blocks in total than the second guy. The Spurs are a okay team. I think they're slightly below 500. Which puts them in the around the play-in. But last year they had 15 wins last year. So Victor Wembanyama, 100% a starter. And after I give my teams, they did release the starters already, and I will be talking about that. Who I agree with, who I don't agree with. And then when they release the reserves on January 30th, we will also talk about that. So. Now my last starter for the West is going to be Ant-Man Anthony Edwards, averaging about 26 points per game. The Timberwolves are the 6th to 8th seed, I believe. I don't know which one. I think they're the 6th seed, or they're the 7th seed, one of those. Because I think the Lakers are the 6th or 7th seed, so it's one of those. He's the best 3-point shooter in the league right now. Leading the league in 3-pointers made. Still a good defender, but it's just Anthony Edwards. He's doing better than all the other Western Conference guards, most of them. So yeah, that's my starting 5 right there. We have Shai and Anthony Edwards at the backcourt. And then we have Jokic, Anthony Davis, and Victor Wembanyama as the front court. That is my starters. Let's go ahead and go over the reserves now. Got 7 players here. Starting off with Domantas Sabonis. Sabonis very well could have been a starter this year for sure. He's having maybe his best season. The Kings are pretty good after firing Mike Brown. They are good now. He's averaging about almost, I don't know the exact numbers. I got to look at it. I usually memorize these things, but I don't for Sabonis. So I'm going to look at Sabonis' numbers really quickly. He's averaging 21, 14 and a half rebounds and 6.5 assists per game. He's leading the league in rebounds by a pretty wide margin. Karl Anthony Towns is kind of close to him, but Sabonis has been dominating the league in rebounding for the past 3 to 4 years. Nobody has passed him in rebounding. Sabonis, he's getting triple doubles every single night. He's literally the second. He's like the second down evolution of Nikola Jokic. It goes Jokic, Sabonis, Alperen Sengun. Sabonis is an all-star reserve. I have him number 1. I have him as the best reserve. He's had the best season as the reserve off the bench. And that's why I said he could have started as well, but I don't think he's doing better than any of the starters. Next up, reserve number 2 is going to be Kevin Durant, averaging 27 points per game at 36 years old. Everybody talks about what LeBron does, but nobody talks about what Kevin Durant's doing, what Stephen Curry is doing, what Chris Paul is doing. Kevin Durant, 27 points per game at his age is ridiculous. Off of a torn Achilles, by the way. Nobody has ever recovered off of a torn Achilles like Kevin Durant has. The greatest scorer of all time. He's going to end this. He's going to pass Wilt Chamberlain in scoring soon. Kevin Durant, all-star reserve for sure. The Suns are struggling, but let me tell you, Kevin Durant is not struggling. Next up, reserve, we got Sabonis' teammate. We got De'Aaron Fox. Fox, man, 26 points per game. He's up there and leading the league in steals at about 2-ish steals per game. Fox is one of the most underrated players in the league. He's got a 60-point game this season, which I think is still the highest scoring game of the season. Correct me if I'm wrong, but De'Aaron Fox, all-star reserve. Next up, we got Devin Booker, Kevin Durant's teammate. He is averaging 25 and a half and about 6.7 assists per game. 6.7 assists, pretty impressive when Tyus Jones is your point guard, who usually distributes the ball the most. But Devin Booker definitely deserves this spot. He's shooting efficiently. It's just that the Suns' record is not great. The Suns' record, it's not that great. They're struggling. They're in the making of trying to trade Bradley Beal. So Booker's still an all-star, though. KD's still an all-star. Next up, this one can be a bit controversial, but I don't care. I have Luka Doncic. And the main reason why he is this low is because of how much he's missed. His numbers are absolutely incredible. The Mavericks are a good team. If he just played, he's obviously starting over Anthony Edwards if he's healthy. But it's just insane how little games he's played. Yet I still have him as an all-star because of how crazy his numbers are. He's averaging 28, 7, and 9. And he still has played 22 games out of the about 40, which is why I put him here, because his numbers are great. And if he played more games, he's a starter. But Luka Doncic, he's definitely not going to play in the All-Star game, which is exactly why I made injury replacements. So we will go over those injury replacements after I'm done with these reserves. But next reserve, we have LeBron James, the greatest player of all time, 40 years old. This will be his 21st All-Star game, the most in history, I think. LeBron James going crazy. At age 40, it's ridiculous what he's doing. He definitely deserves this all-star spot. So yeah. Finishing off our reserves out west, it is going to be Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving is averaging 25 points per game. He's the best playmaker on the Mavericks while Luka has been gone. He's still played about 36 games, I think. Kyrie Irving definitely deserves his all-star spot for doing what he has done with the Mavericks without Luka Doncic. And yeah, with that being said, those are my Western Conference all-star teams. Some of these guys definitely will not be playing. So let's go ahead and go over these injury replacements in order. The number one injury replacement for if somebody goes out should be Jaren Jackson Jr. The Grizzlies' best player this season. Ja Morant has not been that good like as he should be. He's not that good. Jaren Jackson Jr., he's averaging about 2 blocks per game, about 23 points per game, 10 rebounds. Jaren definitely deserves this if somebody goes out. Our next replacement is going to be Steph Chef Curry. Isn't that crazy how he isn't already, or I'm trying to say that he isn't originally an all-star. He should not be an all-star originally. He doesn't deserve it. The Warriors are bad, and he's averaging only 22 points per game. Ladies and gentlemen, Stephen Curry is only averaging 22 points per game. That is low. That is like low for him. When's the last time Stephen Curry averaged 22 points per game? If I had to guess, I would probably say his first 4 years in the league is the last time Curry averaged 22 points per game. He's had a lot of bad games this year. Notoriously, he had 0 points on 0 for 8 shooting. He's had 7 points. He's shot 0 for 9 from 3. He's had bad games. He's not really this unsung hero of the Golden State Warriors. If he was averaging 26 to 29 points per game like he usually does, I feel like the Warriors would be a higher seed. So that is why Stephen Curry does not originally make the All-Star team. But if there is injuries, he deserves that second injury replacement spot. If there's no injuries, though, Curry is not playing in the All-Star game. I hate to say it. And my third and final injury replacement is going to be Alperen Sengun. The Rockets are the second seed in the West, but they're more of like a whole team kind of ordeal because Sengun's numbers, they're not really that crazy. He's averaging about 29 and 5 or 6, which isn't crazy. Like I said, they're similar numbers. It's Jokic, Sabonis, and Sengun. So Sabonis and Jokic are up there, but Sengun is the third All-Star injury replacement. And some big names who did not make the team this year is going to be Ja Morant and James Harden. Like I said about Ja Morant, he's not having a good year. And James Harden, he's having a okay year, but he's just shooting the ball very bad. He's shooting 38% from the field, which is not good. And he's also averaging 4.6 turnovers per game. Not ideal. So those two do not make it. Stephen Curry potentially doesn't make it. So yeah, that is West. And now let's go ahead and go over the East. Out East, starting us off, it's going to be Giannis Antetokounmpo, easily starting. He's third in MVP, top 3 in MVP easily. He's going to be all NBA first team. He's averaging career numbers. Like last year, he had career numbers. This year, he's also having career numbers. The Bucks are a okay team, so Giannis deserves this. Up next, we got Karl Anthony Towns starting. He gets traded from the Timberwolves to the Knicks, and that was the best possible thing that can happen for him. He's having the best season of his career. He's second in rebounding. He's averaging like a career high in points per game, I think. Literally, the Knicks would not be as good of a team as they are without him. The Timberwolves are missing him. Imagine picking Julius Randle over this guy. Absolutely ridiculous. Up next, third in starting is Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum started this season absolutely ridiculous. Him and Anthony Davis were looking like the MVPs, but he slowed down a little bit. Still averaging great numbers, don't get me wrong. The Celtics are the second team in the East, So Jason Tatum definitely deserves this spot. Up next, we got Jalen Brunson, Cat's teammate. Jalen Brunson, he's going to do what he does, Jalen Brunson, a true superstar. He's averaging great numbers. I don't even need to really go over the numbers because Jalen Brunson, we just know it. We know what he does. We know what Jalen Brunson does. So that was kind of obvious. And then our final starting spot, this will be the controversial one right here. I got Cade Cunningham starting. Yes. Over all those people you're yelling at me about right now. How is he starting? Shut up. Cade Cunningham deserves the starting spot. The Pistons won about 12 games, 13, 14 games last season. They are now the 7th through 8th seed. I don't know which one exactly. They're the 7th or the 8th seed. Like, the Pistons are a good team because of this man. He's averaging 25 points per game, about 6 rebounds, 9 assists per game. Like, this man deserves starting in the East for sure over all those names that you're yelling at me right now. Those are that's my starting 5 right there. Giannis, Karl Anthony Towns, Jason Tatum, Jalen Brunson, Cade Cunningham. There you go. Let's go ahead and go over the reserves. Starting first in our reserves is going to be LaMelo Ball, who is going to be the guy most of y'all are probably going to say should start over Cade Cunningham. Explain to me how LaMelo Ball starts over Cade Cunningham. The Hornets have 11 total wins. They're about 11-33. LaMelo Ball, he's averaging 29 points per game. He's shooting 41% from the field. Not efficient. He chucks up about 30 shots per game. I'd expect him to average 29 points per game, but nonetheless, his numbers are still great, which is why he gets the first All-Star reserve spot for me. But LaMelo not starting over Cade Cunningham. Up next in the second spot, I got Tyrese Maxey, who is absolutely putting the Philadelphia 76ers on his back, while a certain somebody wants to sit at home in a retirement center and watch all their games. Tyrese Maxey is the best player on the 76ers. Everybody else is trash and ass. He's averaging about 26 points per game, putting this team on their back. Up next, we got Damian Lillard, who is playing so much better than he did last season. He's got a feel for the team. He's happier. As y'all know, he was going through some family issues last year. He was having to move cities, going from Portland, having to live in Portland for 11 years, to suddenly having to move cities. He doesn't get to see his kids that much because they still live in Portland. Things with his significant other happen. He was just struggling mentally. He said he was in the worst shape of his career. He comes back now, and he's playing 2 times better than he did last season. He's shooting the ball way better. And the Bucks only aren't a super great team because of the supporting cast. That is the only reason why. Up next, we got Trae Young. Trae Young is leading the league in assists by a wide margin while also averaging about 23, 24 points per game. The Hawks are always going to be a mid-team, so that's why he's going to get this spot. When you lead the league in assists like this, you deserve to be an all-star. Up next, and a lot of y'all are going to think that he should be higher, but I just don't agree with you. I got Donovan Mitchell at the bottom, around the bottom of the reserve spot. He's averaging only 23 points per game. And yeah, the Cavs are obviously the first seed, but he has so much help. Like, Darius Garland is averaging 20 points per game, and Evan Mobley is averaging 18 points per game. This dude, Donovan Mitchell, has so much help, and he's only averaging 23 points per game. If the Cavs weren't as good as they are, let's say the Cavs were like a 6th, 7th seed, I truly do not think Donovan Mitchell will make the All-Star team. So his record carries him. But because 23 points per game, that's not really like All-Star numbers. He's not doing anything else really either. So yeah, I got Donovan Mitchell around the third to last reserve. Up next, we got Jalen Johnson, who is having a absolutely breakout, standout year. Trae Young is the reason for that happening. With Trae Young's playmaking, how good Trae Young is at playmaking, it is allowing Jalen Johnson to get these looks. He's averaging about 18 points per game, 10 rebounds per game, and 6 assists per game. He's like close to averaging a triple double. He gets triple doubles. I've seen him get a lot of triple doubles this season. Just having a very, very great year, and he definitely deserves to be an all-star. Finishing out with the East all-star team, my last spot is going to be Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown, the Celtics are the 2nd seed. He's averaging 23.5 points per game. Not really much to be said. Jaylen Brown's having a great year as the 2nd man. So I might even say the 1st man. He was the finals MVP. So Jaylen Brown deserves that final all-star spot. Now, if anybody gets injured, I have 3 injury replacements. And that first one is going to be Zach LaVine, who is having arguably the best season of his career. He went on a spree where he had 5 to 6 30-point games in a row. And he might get traded. I want him to get traded. I want Zach LaVine to go to a contending team to where he can help a contending team and be an X factor out, because the Bulls aren't going anywhere. The Bulls aren't doing anything. So Zach LaVine is having one of the best seasons of his career. He still doesn't deserve the All-Star game, though, unless somebody gets injured. Next up, having maybe the best season of his career is Tyler Hero. He just doesn't deserve it over all those other guys I named, but Tyler Hero, let alone, is still having a great season. And in my final injury replacement spot is going to be Darius Garland, mainly because of the record, but he still is averaging 20-7, which is very good on a 1st seed. So that is why Darius Garland does not get it, but if people get injured, he does get it. Now these are the standouts of people who did not make the All-Star team. They didn't make nothing, and they also do not get my injury replacement. So first off, Tyrese Halliburton is having a very bad, pretty bad year. I mean, compared to what he did last season, he's shooting the ball bad. He's averaging about 17 to 18 points per game, just not all-star numbers. Next, we have Paolo Banchero, who did not make the all-star team, but we all know he would have. We all know Paolo Banchero would have made the all-star team if he did not get injured, but that is the only reason why he did not make it. Jimmy Butler does not make the all-star team. We all know why. He's trying to get traded. He does not even want to be on the team. He doesn't want to play. He just doesn't want to play. So Jimmy Butler does not make the all-star team. And speaking of not wanting to play, the most surprising man who did not make the all-star team is going to be Joel Embiid. And we all know why, because he doesn't play. He is at the retirement center, and that is why. Very surprising. One of the best players in the league for the past 4 or 5 years does not make the All-Star team. So those are my All-Star teams. Let me know if you agree with me. If you would like to have a conversation, if you disagree with me in the comments, go ahead and comment down your thoughts below. And like I said, the NBA already announced the starters, and I full-heartedly disagree with some of them. Let's go ahead and go over them really quickly. Starters out west that are official is Shea, Jokic, Kevin Durant, LeBron, and Stephen Curry. Absolutely diabolical that you're trying to push the Kevin Durant, LeBron James, and Stephen Curry thing on us one more time. It's cool and all. Look, I love these guys. Don't get me wrong, I love these guys, but I'm not a biased NBA fan. I'm not going to let these guys be an all-star starter just because it's their final seasons of being good. Like I said, Stephen Curry shouldn't even be an all-star at all. Victor Wembanyama, Anthony Davis, and Anthony Edwards are all having better seasons than Kevin Durant, LeBron, and Stephen Curry. So, West, I do not disagree. I do not agree with that. Shea and Jokic are the only one I agree with, as everybody should agree with. If you do not have Shea and Jokic as your all-star starters, you must be new to basketball. Welcome. And then East was Giannis, Karl Anthony Towns, Jason Tatum, Jalen Brunson, and Donovan Mitchell. All 4 of those I agree with. Those are my all-star starters, except for Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell should not be a starter just because of his record. Cade is having such a better season. So, yeah, Cade over Donovan Mitchell for sure. And then that's it right there. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Let me know how you feel about my opinion. Let me know how you feel about the NBA's all-star starters. I don't like it. And I'll see you all in the next video. God bless.